Now let's learn how to crochet the corner pieces. Let's take a look at the finished product. There are 4 corner pieces. The crochet method is the same. I'll use the chain ring method. Crochet from the center outward. You need to switch colors while crocheting. The new stitch techniques are marked on the charts. I won't explain each one individually. Please let me demonstrate the specific crochet method. Take out the corresponding yarn. The colors are random here. Start with a chain ring. Chain 5. Circle the chains. With the right side facing you, be mindful not to twist the chains. Pick up the first chain. In the top half loop. Make 1 slip stitch. Slightly tighten. The foundation chain is now complete. This forms a space in the middle. Now let's work the first row. Make 3 beginning chains. These 3 chains count as 1 DC. Then make 1 chain for transition. Then in the foundation chain space, make 1 DC. Tuck in the yarn tail together. Continue with 1 chain for transition. Then make 1 DC. This row involves making DCS in the foundation chain space. Use 1 chain for transition between DCS. Repeat this process. Make 4 DCS. Use 1 chain for transition between them. After the last DC is done, cut the yarn. Take the side with the clearer texture as the right side of the fabric piece. Tidy it up slightly. The yarn tail from the chain ring has already been secured a few times, so you can cut it directly. Tuck in the wrong side. After cutting the yarn later, all tails should be tucked in the wrong side. I won't repeat this again. This completes the first row. Move on to the second row. Take out the new yarn. First, join the yarn in the right chain space from previous row. Then, make a DC for popcorn. Make 3 beginning chains. Next, make 3 DCS in the space. You can secure the yarn tail together. Then, enlarge the loop. Remove the hook. Pick up the top 2 strands of the turning chain. Then insert it back into the open loop. Draw the loop through. At the same time, push the double crochet forward. Secure with 1 chain. This completes the special DC for popcorn. Next, chain 2 as a transition. Make a DC for popcorn in the left chain space. Make 4 DCS. Then, enlarge the loop. Remove the hook. Insert it into the stitch of the first DC. Insert it into the loop that was left. Draw the loop through. At the same time, lift upward the DC. Secure with 1 chain. The DC for popcorn is completed. This is the normal method. Continue crocheting in this way. Chain 2 as a transition. Make a DC for popcorn in the left chain space. This row is worked in the chain space from the previous row. Make a DC for popcorn. Chain 2 as a transition. Complete this row in this manner. After completing the last stitch, cut the yarn. This completes the second row. Continue with the third row. Join the yarn in the right chain space of the first row. The stitch has already been crocheted here. You can join the yarn on its right side. Make 3 beginning chains. Chain 1 as a transition. Make an SC in the left chain space. Then, in the corresponding DC below, make a FPDC. Yarn over once. Insert the hook from right to left around this stitch. Make 1 DC. Remember to slightly enlarge the loop. The FPDC is completed. The completed FPDC should be approximately the same height as the SC on the right side. Next, in the same space behind, make 1 SC. Take these 2 SCS and 1 FPDC as one group. Continue to make another group. First, make 1 SC in the left chain space. Then, insert the hook around the corresponding DC below. Make 1 FPDC. Pick up the DC from right to left. Make 1 DC. Remember to enlarge the loop. One FPDC is completed. Make 1 SC. Continue at the left chain space. Correspondingly, make 3 groups. After completing, chain 1 as a transition. Finally, on the first stitch of the first row on the left side, make 1 DC. You can move the completed part to the right. Finally, cut the yarn. This completes the third row. Now, work on the fourth row. Continue using the yarn from the previous row. Attach the yarn to the starting chain on the right side. Pay attention to finding the position of the top of the 3 chains. Then, make 3 beginning chains. Follow with 1 chain as a transition. Make 1 DC in the same position. Make 1 SC in the left SC. In the left FPDC, make 1 DC. Three chains. And 1 DC. Take this 1 SC. And the stitches worked on the left stitch as one group. Continue with another group. Skip the left SC. Make corresponding SCS on the next SC. Make 1 DC in the same stitch on the left. Three chains. And 1 DC. Repeat this process for 3 more groups. To skip the SC on the left side of the FPDC, after completing the last group, make 1 SC in the position of the left chain space. Make 1 DC 1 chain, and 1 DC in the final stitch. Then fasten off. This completes row 4. Next, work on row 5. Join yarn in the chain space on the right side. Make 2 beginning chains. Follow with a chain transition. In the same chain space, make 1 HDC2 puff. Start with 1 incomplete HDC. Yarn over the hook. Insert. Draw the yarn through. Slightly enlarge the loop. Make it about the height of 2 chain stitches. Complete the first incomplete HDC. Continue with the second incomplete HDC. Wrap the yarn. You can use your hands to hold the yarn. Insert. Draw the yarn through. Enlarge the loop. Complete the second incomplete HDC. Wrap the yarn. Pull through all the loops on your hook. The HDC2 puff stitch is completed. To make it easier to explain, we will refer to it as a puff. Next, chain 2 as a transition. Then, in the left chain space, make 1 puff stitch. Start with 2 incomplete HDCs. One, 2. Wrap the yarn and pull through all the loops. The puff is completed. Then, chain 2 as a transition. Make 1 puff in the same chain space. Chain 2. And 1 puff. Take the stitches in the chain space as one group. Continue with chain 2 as a transition. Make 1 group in the left chain space, which is 3 puff. Chain 2 as a transition. For the rest of this row, in the chain space, make such a group. Chain 2 as a transition. Continue crocheting in this way. After completing the last group, chain 2 as a transition. Finally, in the chain space, make a puff. Two chains. And 1 HDC. First, make it incomplete HDC. No need to enlarge the loop. Then, yarn over and draw through. HDC is complete. Finally, cut the yarn. This completes row 5. Continue with row 6. Attach the yarn in the right chain space. Then make 3 beginning chains, followed by a CH2 picot. First, chain 2. Then insert your hook under the top 2 strands of the standing stitch below. Make 1 slip stitch. This completes the CH2 picot. We will refer to this as a picot. Next, make 2 DCS in the same chain space below. One HDC. Make 1 incomplete HDC first. Then yarn over and draw through. The HDC is complete. Continue with another HDC. And after that, make a FPHDC. Yarn over the hook. Find the corresponding SC in row 4. Insert the hook from the front on the right side of the SC. Come out on the left. Pick up the entire SC. Make a HDC. Be mindful to enlarge the loop. The FPHDC is done. Next, in the right chain space of the group from the previous round, make 2 HDCS. Three DCS. One picot. First, make 2 chains. Then pick up the FPDC below, which is this strand of yarn. Then pick up another strand below. Make 1 slip stitch. A picot complete. The picots on the DCS are all worked using this method. Make 3 DCS in the left chain space. And 2 HDCS. Take this FPHDC and the stitches on the left side as one group. Continue and work another group. First, make 1 FPHDC. Yarn over. Insert into the right side of the SC. Come out on the left. Make 1 HDC to enlarge the loop. One FPDC is done. Next, make 2 HDCS in the left chain space. Three DCS. 1 picket. Crochet symmetrical stitches in the right chain space. Continue downward with 3 more groups of this stitch pattern. After completing, make 1 FPHDC. Then in the last chain space, make 2 HDCS. Three DCS. And 1 picket. Finally, cut the yarn. This completes the 6th row. Now crochet the 7th row. First, find the beginning chain on the right side of the 5th row. And join the yarn in the 2nd chain. Place the stitches from the 6th row in front. Make 1 beginning chain. Make 1 SC in the same position. Then, chain 5 as a transition. Next, in the left 2 chain spaces. Which correspond to the FPHDC in the 6th row. Make 1 SC. Three chains. And 1 SC. Take the stitches worked into the chain space as one group. Then, 7 chains as a transition. At the next chain space, make one group of stitches. That is, 1 SC. 3 chains. And 1 SC. Then, 7 chains as a transition. This row continues by making one group into the chain spaces. With 7 chain stitches in between. Continue crocheting in this way. After completing the last group, chain 5. Make 1 SC into the HDC at the end of row 5. There is no need to cut the yarn here. This completes row 7. Continue to crochet row 8. Make 3 beginning chains. Chain 1 as a transition. And turn the fabric work counterclockwise. In the chain space from the previous row, make 4 DCS, 1 chain between the DCS. Take the stitches worked into the chain space as one group. Then 1 chain as a transition. Make another group in the next chain space. This row continues at the position of the chain spaces. Correspondingly, make such a group. Chain 1 as a transition in between. Repeat this process, and continue crocheting following the chart. After completing the last group, chain 1 as a transition. Make 1 DC on the last SC. Then fasten off the yarn. This completes the 8th row. Next, crochet the 9th row. First, find the chain space on the right side of the 7th row. Insert the hook. At the same time, insert into the right chain space of the 8th row. Join the yarn inside. Make 1 beginning chain. Make 1 SC in the same stitch. Next, make 4 DCS in the left chain space. Remember to weave in the ends. Make 2 DCS, 1 picket, and 2 DCS in the next chain space. Make 4 DCS in the left chain space. After completing, take a look. We have made 12 DCS and 1 picket in the group from the previous row. Take this as one group. Next, pick up the left 2 rows of chains to make 1 SC. Next, crochet 1 group on the left side. After completing, pick up the 2 rows of the chain space and make 1 SC. For this row, continue by repeating the group and the SC. Repeat this process downward. After completing the last group, pick up the 2 rows of chains and make 1 SC. Then, cut the yarn. This completes the 9th row. Next, crochet the 10th row. First, find the picket on the right side of the 6th row. The small horizontal line on the wrong side of the chain. Pick up this line. If you do not know exactly where it is, you can also pick up the easier line on the picket. Then insert into the edge SC stitch of previous round. Join the yarn here. After completing, make 3 beginning chains. Then chain 1 as a bridge. In the same position, make 1 DC. Then, make 9 chains as a transition. Next, find the picket position on the left side of the 6th row. Pick up the small horizontal line on the wrong side of the chain. Insert into the corresponding SC stitch of the 9th row. Make 1 SC. Note that the chains should be placed behind. Continue with 9 chains as a transition. At the left picket, make 1 SC in the SC position. Then, make 7 chains as a transition. Take the crocheted stitches as one side. Next, at the picket and left SC position, make 4 DCS. Make 1 chain as a transition between the DCS. Take the stitches crocheted at this position as a corner. Continue crocheting this side. The stitches are symmetrical on the right side. Refer to the chart and continue crocheting. At the last stitch, make 1 DC, 1 chain and 1 DC. Then cut the yarn. This completes row 10. Move on to row 11. Continue using the yarn from the previous row. Join the yarn in the right chain space. Then make a DC3 bobble. First, make 3 chains. Then crochet an incomplete DC. Yarn over. Insert. Draw the yarn through. Yarn over. Pull through the first 2 loops. The incomplete DC is completed. Then make another incomplete DC. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. Yarn over. Pull through the first 2 loops. Another incomplete DC is completed. Yarn over and draw through all the loops once. This is a special DC3 bobble. Then chain 3 as a transition. Next, find the second DC on the right side of the picket in row 9. pick up the small horizontal line on the wrong side. Then pick up the chains from row 10. To make one SC. Then chain 3 as a transition. Next, pick up the small horizontal line on the wrong side of the second DC on the right side of the picket in row 9. As well as the chain space from the previous row. To make one SC. Then chain 3 as a transition. Take these two SCS and the transitional chains as a group. Next, make one BPSC. The hook exits from the right behind the left SC. Insert into the left side. Pick up the entire SC. Make one SC. The BPSC is complete. After completing, pull the chain from the previous row. Do not cover the SC stitch. Next, continue in the same way on the right side. Make one group, which means making SCS in the corresponding position from the previous two rows, with 3 chains on both sides as a transition. After completing, make one BPSC. Exit below on the right side of the SC. Insert on the left side. Make one SC. Complete the BPSC. Then make another group of stitches. This completes the edge on the right side. Next, to crochet one corner. First, in the right chain space of the previous row's corner, make one DC3 bobble. First, make 3 incomplete DCS. Then yarn over and draw through once. The DC3 bobble is complete. Then 3 chains as a bridge. Next, in the left 2 chain space, make a DC3 bobble into each, with 3 chains as a bridge in between. After completing, continue working this edge. The stitches are symmetrical to the right side. Refer to the chart and continue crocheting. For the final chain space, make 1 DC3 bobble. Cut the yarn. This completes row 11. Next, work row 12. Continue using the yarn from the previous row. First, attach the yarn in the turning chain on the right side of the DC3 bobble. Make 2 beginning chains. Then pick up the bobble stitch, and make 1 HDC. Then make 2 HDCs in the left chain space. After that, in the left chain space, make 3 SCS. Be mindful that here you need to wrap the previous 2 rows chains together. After completing, skip the chain space. In the SCS of row 10, make 2 DCS. If it is covered by the BPSC from the previous row, make sure to expose it. Then, chain 2 as a transition. Make 2 DCS in the same stitch. Take these stitches as one group. Next, in the middle one of the left 3 chain spaces, pick up the chains from the second row, and make 3 SCS. Then, make one group in the SCS of row 10 on the left, which is 2 DCS. Two chains, and 2 DCS. After completing, skip 1 chain space. Continue with 3 SCS. Make 2 HDCS in the left chain space. This completes one side. Now we move to the corner. Make 1 FPHDC in the DC3 bobble. Make 1 FPHDC. Make 2 HDCS 2 DCS in the left chain space. Make 1 FPHDC in the DC3 bobble. Make 2 DCS and 2 HDCS in the chain space. Next, make 1 FPHDC on the left. After completing the corner, the stitch pattern on the left side is symmetrical to the right side. Refer to the chart and continue all the way down. After completing the last chain space, make 1 HDC on the DC3 bobble. Next, in the incomplete stitch of the DC3 bobble, pick up 2 threads to make 1 HDC. Finally, cut the yarn. This completes row 12. Now work row 13. Take the new yarn. Join the yarn in the starting chain on the right side of the previous row. Make 2 beginning chains. Make 1 HDC in the same position. Then, chain 1 as a transition. Skip the left HDC. Make a BP HDC on the next HDC. Yarn over. The hook comes out behind the right side of the HDC. Insert the hook on the left side. Pick up the entire HDC. Make a HDC. The BPHDC is completed. Continue making 1 BPHDC on the left. Yarn over. The hook comes out behind the right side of the HDC. Insert the hook on the left side. Make 1 HDC. Another BPHDC is completed. Then, make 1 SC on the left SC stitch. Find the corresponding picket position from row 11. Pick up the carrying yarn on the wrong side. And the corresponding SC stitch from the previous row. Make 1 SC. Make 1 SC on the left stitch. Then, in the left chain space of row 11, make 3 SCS. Be mindful that the stitches from the previous row are placed in front. Make 3 SCS in the left chain space. Take these 9 SCS as one group. Continue and make another group. Be mindful the second SC should connect to the picket from row 9. Then make 3 SCS. Be mindful the second SC should connect to row 9. After completing, make 2 BPHDC. Chain 1 as a transition. Skip 1 stitch below. Make 2 BPHDC on the left side. After completing, make 1 BPDC. Yarn over. Exit from the right side of the stitch below. Insert on the left side. Pick up the entire DC. Make 1 DC. The BPDC is completed. The braid on the upper right is its stitch. Continue and make 1 BPDC on the left side. Yarn over. Exit behind the right side of the DC. Insert on the left side. Pick up the entire DC. Make 1 DC. Another BPDC is completed. Chain 2 as a transition. Below, crochet stitches symmetrical to the right side. Refer to the pattern and continue crocheting. Be mindful that you need to skip 1 stitch in the middle. Skip this stitch. Make 2 HDCS in the final stitch. Cut the yarn. This completes row 13. Move on to row 14. For this round, use 2 types of yarn. First, take the corresponding yarn. Attach the yarn to the starting chain on the right side. Make 3 beginning chains. Make 1 DC in the same position. Make 1 DC in the left HDC. Chain 1 as a transition. Then make 1 DC in the chain space. Chain 1 as a transition. Pick up the left stitch. Make 8 DCs correspondingly, and switch colors on the last stitch. Take the new yarn before you crochet. Place it over the hook. Weave in the ends as you crochet. When making the last stitch, make an incomplete DC first. Then pull the new yarn through. Be mindful to stretch the yarn slightly. Tighten the original yarn slightly. This completes the color change. Next, in the corresponding patterns, chain space on row 12. Make a DC3 popcorn. Make 3 DCs first. You can weave in the original yarn at the same time. Then insert into the first stitch. Draw the previous loops through. Switch to the original yarn and secure with a chain. Be mindful to stretch the yarn slightly. The DC3 popcorn is completed. We will refer to it as a popcorn stitch from now on. Next, skip the left SC stitch. Start from the next stitch. Make 8 DCs correspondingly. Make sure to weave in the new yarn. Switch colors at the last stitch. Stretch the yarn first. Ensure the fabric piece is flat. Then, in the corresponding pattern chain space, use the new yarn to crochet a popcorn stitch. Make 3 DCs first. Remember to carry the yarn along. Then insert into the first stitch. Draw the previous loops through. Switch back to the original yarn, and make 1 chain to secure. The popcorn stitch is complete. Continue by skipping 1 stitch. Pick up and make DCs correspondingly from the next stitch. When you reach the chain space, chain 1. Make 1 DC in the chain space below. Chain 1 as a transition. Then, make 4 DCs on the left 4 stitches. Be mindful to switch colors on the last stitch. This completes one edge. In the left chain space, use new yarn to make 3 popcorn stitches. Chain 2 as a transition. Be mindful to switch colors on the last popcorn stitch. Complete the stitches symmetrical to the right side. Remember to switching colors at the popcorn position. Refer to the chart and continue crocheting. Make 2 DCs in the last stitch. Then fasten off the yarn. Since the new yarn has already been secured, you can cut it directly. This completes the 14th row. Move on to the 15th row. Attach the yarn to the beginning chain on the right side. Chain 2 as a beginning chain. Make HDCs correspondingly on the left stitches. Make 1 HDC in the chain space. Continue crocheting correspondingly. When you reach the popcorn stitch, make 1 HDC on the left stitch. Continue to make HDCs correspondingly. When you reach the corner position from the previous row, make 3 HDCs in the left chain space. Chain 2 as a transition. Make 3 HDCs in the left chain space. Then crochet stitches symmetrical to the right side. Refer to the chart and continue crocheting. After the last HDC is completed, the 15th row is finished. Do not cut the yarn. Finally, crochet an edge underneath the corner piece. Continue crocheting with the same yarn. Make one beginning chain. You can slightly tighten it. Then, make one SC on the HDC. Then make 3 SCS on the left DC. Make 3 SCS on the HDC of next row. Skip one row. On the side of the DC 3 bobble on the 11th row. Make 3 SCS. After that, make 4 SCS in the left DC. Then find the starting chain of the 8th row. And make 4 SCS in it. Then on the side of the 1st, 3rd, 4th, 5th row, make 3 SCS correspondingly. When you reach the chain space, make 2 SCS in it. Continue making SCS on the side. The specific position and stitch count should be symmetrical to the right side. Refer to the pattern and continue crocheting. After completing the last SC, you can check the number of SCS according the chart. Then cut the yarn and weave in the ends. This completes the edging for the corner piece. That completes the explanation for one corner piece. Refer to the previous demonstration. Follow the pattern. Complete the other corner pieces. I won't demonstrate that. Next, join the corner pieces with the central foo character piece. First, range the pieces according to the finished product. Here, I will use a sample for the demonstration. The yarn is chosen randomly. The stitch and color are not for references. Focus on the method. This needs to be done on the wrong side. Turn the fabric over. Join around the central piece. One side of the central piece corresponds to the edging position of the corner piece. Here, the sample starts joining from the corner. Inserts into the right stitch of the edge of the corner piece. Be mindful that on the wrong side, the stitch is on the upper left. Then insert into the middle stitch of the DC in the corner position of the central piece. Both have the wrong side facing up. Take out the corresponding yarn. Draw the yarn through. Start by leaving a tail. Then, along this side of the stitches, make slip stitch one by one. Be mindful that the corner piece is on top. Make sure the position is correct. Crochet slip stitches normally. If your hands are tight, you can crochet looser. The stitches for the edging on the corner piece should correspond with the center piece, particularly the middle stitch at the corner position, including the middle stitch. The number of stitches should be evenly matched. If they don't match, when the edging side has more stitches, you can crochet twice into one stitch on the side of the center piece. When the edging side has fewer stitches, you can crochet twice into one stitch. As long as the right side texture looks nice, and the fabric piece is flat. When you reach the middle stitch of the next corner, one corner piece is attached. Continue by taking the next corner piece, making sure the wrong side is facing up. Continue attaching, and when crocheting the first stitch, insert the hook into the middle stitch of the center corner to crochet. Then crochet slip stitches, corresponding stitch by stitch. The second corner piece is now connected. Continue connecting the remaining pieces. When you encounter the turning chain position, simply pick the space of the slip stitch and crochet. After completing the last stitch, pull the yarn through. Leave about 10 centimeters of yarn tail before cutting the yarn. Then finish off. The method is the same as the slip stitch outline of the central motif. Make sure the yarn tail is left on the wrong side. Carry the yarn tail from the right side to the wrong side. Then tie a knot and weave in. The method is very simple. I won't demonstrate it. The joining is now complete. Next, we will crochet the edging. Start with the first round. Crochet the edging on the right side. Take the corresponding yarn. At the corner of the joined piece, attach yarn to the right side stitches. Make 2 beginning chains. Then make 2 HDCS in the left chain space. Chain 2 and 2 HDCS. Take the stitches worked in the chain space as one corner of this round. Now crochet along this side. Make HDCS into each stitches. Continue until there is one stitch left before the corner piece edge. When you reach the corresponding position, make an incomplete DC in the left side stitch. Then, in the middle stitch of the centerpiece's corner, make an incomplete TR. Yarn over twice. Insert. Pull the yarn through. Yarn over on after another. Draw through the first 2 loops on the hook. Repeat twice. Complete the incomplete TR. Next, on the side edge of the left border, work an incomplete DC on the SC stitch. There are now 4 loops on the hook. Yarn over and draw through all the loops once. Take this stitch as a cluster. Next, skip the position of the beginning chain. Start from the stitch position. Make HDCS evenly. Check after completing. For edge of this round, make continuous HDCS. And 1 cluster. Next, make 1 corner, which is 2 HDCS. 2 chains, and 2 HDCS. Then work along the next side. First make corresponding HDCS. Then make 1 cluster. First, work an incomplete DC in the left stitch. Then, in the middle stitch of the central piece's corner, make an incomplete TR. Yarn over twice. Insert the hook. Draw the yarn through. Yarn over. Pull through the first 2 loops on the hook. Repeat twice. The incomplete TR is completed. Then work along the edge of the left side. Make an incomplete DC. Yarn over and draw through all the loops once. The cluster is completed. Continue with HDCS correspondingly. This round is about repeating this process for the sides and corners. Complete this round following this method. Finish with a slip stitch in the starting chain. Pull tight. Cut the yarn. This completes the first round. Continue with round 2. First, join the yarn at the slip stitch position from the previous round. Then make 3 beginning chains. Next, in the position of the left stitch, correspondingly make DCS. Now, we reach the corner space from the previous round. Make 2 DCS in it. Two chains. And 2 DCS. Take the stitches crocheted in the chain space as a corner for this round. Then crochet one side. Directly pick up stitches, and make DCS correspondingly. For the cluster position, simply work on the braid. This round is about repeating the pattern. These corners and sides. Follow the chart to complete this round. Finish with a slip stitch. Cut the yarn. The second round of edging is now completed. The single fabric piece is now explained. The method for the other piece is the same. Everyone can complete it on your own. I will not repeat the demonstration. After completing, you can iron the fabric piece. Next, we will sew them together. Let's take a look at the finished product. Sew the 2 fabric pieces together correspondingly. Place the character, Fu, piece facing up. Leave the bottom edge as the opening. Now I will demonstrate the specific sewing method. Cut a piece of yarn for the final round of edging. Here I will use another color for demonstration. It doesn't need to be too long for easy sewing. Thread the needle. Tie a knot at the end of the yarn. Place the fabric pieces with their wrong sides facing each other. Make sure the direction of the character, Fu, is consistent. Here I will use a small sample for demonstration. Focus on the method. Make sure the proper position. Start sewing from the lower right corner. Insert into the corresponding left chain. Pick up the 2 strands of the chain for sewing. Thread it through the reserved loop. Sew an extra stitch at the starting point to secure it. Weave the yarn tails as you go. Then pick up the corresponding stitch. Make a whip stitch with these 4 strands. When you run out of yarn while crocheting, take the yarn to the wrong side. Tie off and weave in the ends. Continue picking up yarn and sewing. Pay attention to the stitch positions. At the corner, pick up the 2 strands of the chain stitch to sew. Then continue picking up stitches and sewing them correspondingly. When you encounter the yarn tails, sew them in together. After finishing the 3rd side, sew an extra stitch at the last stitch to secure it. Then tie off and weave in the yarn on the wrong side. The method is very simple. I won't demonstrate it. This way, the fabric piece is sewn together. Leave an opening like this. Now let's attach the zipper. Here, I'll use a sample to demonstrate. Sew the zipper onto the opening. First, cut a piece of thread that matches the zipper sewing area color. Here, I'll use a different color thread to demonstrate. Take 2 strands from it. Thread the needle. Tie a knot at the end of the thread. Set it aside for later use. Before we sew, let's get to know the structure of the zipper. In the closed state, the end with the zipper head is the top stop position. The other end is the bottom stop position. The 2 sides are the tapes. The tapes have the chain. Match the zipper with the opening position. Make sure the lengths reserved on both ends are roughly the same. According to your preference, choose which end to place the zipper head. Place the corresponding bottom stop position on one side of the opening. Be mindful that the zipper head should be facing upward. Make sure the position is not reversed. Secure the zipper's bottom stop position with the sewing position. It can pass through the fabric. Hide the visible stitches. You can sew a few times for extra security. If the reserved part is too long, you can also secure it. I won't demonstrate that. After securing the bottom stop, begin sewing one side of the tape. Pay attention to the opening edge. Align with the zipper chain. Fix the stitch position. Hide the stitches within the texture. Use the backstitch method here to adjusting the position as you go to prevent sewing crooked. When you reach the other end, you can sew a few more stitches to secure the top stop. Sew and secure the top stop on the other end as well. Make sure to zip the zipper closed. Ensure the position is correct. If the thread is still long, you can return and sew again to make it more secure. I won't demonstrate that here. After completing, tie a knot with the thread. Tuck it along the texture. This secures one side of the zipper. The method for sewing the other side is the same. You can adjust the position as you sew. To prevent sewing it crooked, I won't demonstrate that here. Everyone, look! This is the sample with its zipper is sewn on. That completes the explanation for the zipper. Up to this point, the entire cushion cover has been fully explained. If you have any questions during the process, don't hesitate to reach us via our website. Susan's Family, supporting your handwork experience, sharing the joy of life. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.